Elias Varn stepped off the transport ship and felt the familiar pull of Earth's gravity. After 10 years in the deep reaches of the Andromeda Rift, his body had grown used to the thin pull of faraway planets. Here, on the surface of his home planet, every movement felt heavier, slower, more deliberate. The air smelled of rain and soil, since he had missed more than he cared to admit. Yet beneath the comfort, a tension gnawed at him. Something had changed, both in him and in the world he had left behind. The station terminal was quiet, unusually quiet for a transport hub that usually thrummed with travelers and cargo workers. Elias noticed that first, the absence of the chatter, the absence of human noise. The hall lights reflected off his face, revealing the scar that stretched from just above his eyebrow down past his cheekbone. He touched it lightly, feeling the faint roughness of healed skin. It was not just a mark of injury, it was a mark of experience, survival, and of things he could barely explain even to himself. A figure stepped from the shadows. Doctor. Lyra Solon, the scientist who had supervised much of humanity's interstellar exploration, stared at him. Her mouth opened, then closed, words failing her for a moment. The scar caught her attention immediately. Her hand went up, trembling, but she didn't touch him. She whispered almost to herself, "This can't be real." He could see the mixture of shock, fear, and curiosity burning there. He gave her a small, tired smile. "It's real, Lyra. Everything about this is real." He remembered the day he had left Earth, full of hope and confidence, imagining that he and his crew would make a lasting mark on humanity's history. But the rift had tested them in ways no human mind had expected. It had pushed them to the edge of perception, forcing them to confront things beyond comprehension. Things that had left marks, some visible, some hidden deep within. "The rift changes people," he said quietly. "And not just the people who survive it. Everything we know about the galaxy changes when you see what's out there. What happened to you? And they are smarter than anything we've faced. But they cannot feel like we do. Not just my body. They tried to leave something inside me, something to monitor my emotions, my reactions, maybe even influence them. I survived their attempt. Because wherever they exist, they are already learning about humanity. They may even be here already. Creativity, courage, improvisation. The things they cannot replicate, that's our advantage. We have to make sure humanity stays one step ahead." Lyra Solon gestured for him to follow her to a secure lab, away from prying eyes. "I need to see what they left behind," she said. "We need to understand it before anyone else gets hurt. Whatever they left, we need to know if it's just a mark or something more, and I need your cooperation fully. There's a pattern in the tissue, almost like a code. It reacts to your neural activity. Elias, this could be intelligence embedded in your skin. We are more than logic. Now it's time to make sure humanity survives too." For Elias, the scar was more than a reminder of pain. It was a symbol that humanity, with all its flaws and unpredictability, could survive even when faced with something beyond comprehension. He took a deep breath and looked toward the sky, knowing that beyond the stars, dangers awaited that could challenge everything humans believed about themselves. But he also knew something else. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, thinkers, and fighters in ways no other species could match. As the lights dimmed in the lab and the hum of machines filled the room, Elias and Lyra began planning. The galaxy was vast, and the threats were many, but humanity had something the universe could not imitate. And as long as humans had courage, ingenuity, and each other, there was hope. The scar on Elias' face gleamed faintly under the lab lights, a mark of past battles, a warning of future ones, and a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. And as Lyra whispered again, almost to herself, "This can't be real," Elias could only smile faintly. Sometimes reality was stranger and more beautiful than anyone could imagine. Humanity had returned, and it would not be defeated. Elias spent the next few hours in the lab while Lyra ran analysis after analysis on the scar. The more the machines scanned, the more she realized how unusual it was. It wasn't just a mark on his skin. It was alive in a way, reacting to his thoughts, to his emotions, and even to memories he hadn't spoken aloud. Every pulse and flicker on the monitors made her realize the gravity of what humanity was facing. "This is beyond anything we've encountered before," she said, staring at the screen. "It's almost as if it's watching you, recording you." He had felt it for months, ever since the rift. Sometimes he would wake in the middle of the night and feel a pressure in his skull, a subtle tug like the scar was trying to remind him of something. But he had learned to ignore it. For survival, he had too. They tried to study us, he said quietly, to learn what makes humans human, but they made a mistake. They thought we could be reduced to patterns and reactions. They didn't account for intuition, for instinct, for emotion. That's why I survived. That's why we can't waste any time. They've learned a lot from me, but they haven't learned everything. They don't understand unpredictability. They don't understand courage. We need to show them that humanity can't be predicted or controlled. Over the next few days, Elias and Lyra worked tirelessly, analyzing the patterns in his scar and cross-referencing them with data from the colonies near the rift. They discovered subtle anomalies, ships that had disappeared, signals that seemed human but weren't, and strange gravitational fluctuations that suggested interference with space-time itself. "They're already here," Lyra said, her voice tense. "They're learning from us, studying our colonies, watching our actions, and if they are mimicking humans, then anyone could be one of them. We can't trust appearances anymore." Not just intelligence or strength, but intuition, courage, and the ability to think differently. They can't replicate that perfectly. We need people who can improvise, who can adapt, who can see what others can't. People who will do what's necessary to survive and protect humanity. Each person was carefully selected for their ability to think, adapt, and act without hesitation. As the team gathered in the lab, Elias briefed them on the situation. He showed them the scar and explained the alien threat, the mimicry, and the stakes. The room was tense, the air thick with anticipation. "These beings are not like us," Elias said. "They can imitate, they can learn, and they can manipulate, but they cannot feel the way we do. They cannot experience hope, fear, courage, or loyalty. That's our advantage. That's what we'll use to survive." Every colony, every ship, every settlement could be at risk if they failed. Lyra turned to Elias. "The scar," she said. "It's more than a warning, it's a key, a map. If we can decode it fully, it could lead us to their base or at least give us insight into their operations. But we have to move carefully. One wrong move, and they could learn from us faster than we can learn from them." They discovered that the alien technology could influence human perception, creating illusions and manipulating emotions, but only to an extent. Human unpredictability, especially in high-stress situations, caused errors in the alien systems that could be exploited. Elias and Lyra devised a plan. They would travel to a recently abandoned colony near the rift, a place the aliens had been studying. There they would test their theories, observe the aliens, and gather intelligence without risking large-scale exposure. As they prepared to depart, Elias took a moment to reflect. The scar on his face was more than a reminder of danger. It was a testament to what humanity could endure, what humans could survive. It symbolized resilience, courage, and the ability to face the unknown and prevail. When the team boarded the transport ship, the air was thick with anticipation. Every person knew the risks, but they also knew the stakes. Humanity's survival was not guaranteed, but neither was failure. And they had something the aliens could never fully understand, the human spirit. The journey to the colony was long and quiet. Each team member focused on their own thoughts, preparing for the challenges ahead. Elias sat near the control panel, staring out at the stars, thinking about the rift, the alien technology, and the future of humanity. He felt a deep sense of responsibility, knowing that the lives of countless humans depended on their success. As they approached the colony, the transport sensors detected unusual energy readings. The systems flickered and hummed, responding to the strange patterns in the atmosphere. Elias felt a twinge of unease. "They know we're coming," he said quietly. "They've learned from me. They're ready for us. We'll adapt and we'll survive." His scar, faintly glowing under the ship's internal lights, seemed to pulse with anticipation. It was as if the mark itself was aware of the danger ahead, a warning and a guide. As they disembarked, the ground beneath them hummed with energy. The air was thick, charged with a presence that was not human. The team spread out, moving cautiously, each person aware that they could be facing enemies who looked like humans but were anything but. The first encounter came swiftly. Shadows shifted, and shapes moved with uncanny precision. Elias held up a hand, signaling the team to hold position. The beings stepped into view, appearing almost exactly like humans, but there was something off about them, an unnatural symmetry, a lack of subtle imperfection that humans always had. "They're mimics," Elias whispered. "Observe, don't engage yet, watch their behavior, they'll make a mistake." But as predicted, their reactions were not perfect. Small details betrayed them, a hesitation here, a movement too precise there. Humans could improvise, but their logic-driven systems could not fully replicate instinct. Elias gestured, and the team began a series of maneuvers designed to confuse and bait the mimics. They set traps, created illusions, and moved unpredictably. Each action caused the alien systems to react imperfectly, creating opportunities for observation and intelligence gathering. Hours passed. The team worked tirelessly, collecting data, confirming hypotheses, and testing theories. They learned the limitations of the alien technology, discovering that while the mimics could predict patterns, they could not anticipate human creativity, emotion, or loyalty. By nightfall, Elias and the team had gathered enough information to plan their next move. The aliens had made errors, and the humans had learned from them. The scar on Elias' face pulsed faintly, a reminder of the danger but also a symbol of the edge humanity possessed. As the team gathered for a final briefing, Elias spoke. "We've seen them. We've learned their weaknesses. We've survived the first test, but this is just the beginning. They will adapt, they will learn, but so will we. Humanity survives because we are unpredictable. We survive because we care, because we fight, because we innovate. And we will continue to survive no matter what they do." Humanity had returned to the frontier, scarred but unbroken, and ready to prove that even against unimaginable odds, they would endure. The night was silent, but the quiet felt heavy, almost unnatural. Elias and the team had set up a temporary base in one of the abandoned colony structures. The walls were cracked and worn, remnants of humanity's earlier attempts to settle the distant planet. Outside, shadows shifted across the terrain, movements too deliberate to be merely natural. The team knew that the aliens were observing them, learning from every choice, every step. Elias walked slowly through the base, checking on the team members one by one. Each was focused, methodical, yet there was an underlying tension in their movements. They knew that they were up against beings who could imitate human form, logic, and even strategy, but they could not replicate human courage or improvisation. That difference was their edge, and Elias was determined to exploit it. Lyra approached him, her expression a mix of concern and determination. "We've analyzed the patterns from the first encounter," she said. "They anticipate most actions based on logic, but they fail when humans act unpredictably, when we show creativity or emotion. That's where we strike. We'll bait them, observe, and learn their weaknesses in real time." It pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat, responding to his focus and determination. He could feel it alerting him to subtle shifts in the surroundings, a biological warning system embedded by the aliens' technology. As the team completed their preparations, the first signs of the mimics appeared. Shadows elongated and shifted near the perimeter of the base. Shapes took form, humans at first glance, but too perfect, too precise. The team held their positions, observing quietly. "They're testing us," Elias whispered. "They want to see how we react, to gather more data. Let's give them something to remember." Lights flickered in patterns designed to simulate human movement. Sounds echoed through the empty hallways, mimicking footsteps and voices. The aliens reacted immediately, moving with calculated precision to intercept the perceived humans. Elias watched, noting every flaw, every hesitation. Despite their advanced intelligence, the mimics could not account for true unpredictability. A sudden diversion, a sound in one corner followed by movement in another, caused them to overcommit and reveal gaps in their strategy. "Perfect," Elias said quietly. "They're learning, but we're teaching them mistakes." Elias led the team through a series of maneuvers, using human intuition to exploit the alien rigidity. They moved through the base with a combination of stealth and improvisation, drawing the mimics into positions where the humans could observe without being detected directly. Hours passed, and the tension grew. The team was exhausted, yet they remained focused. Every shadow, every sound could be a mimic or a natural phenomenon. The line between friend and enemy blurred, forcing the humans to rely on instincts honed through years of training and experience. Then the first direct confrontation occurred. A mimic lunged from the shadows, striking with precision and speed. Elias reacted instantly, sidestepping and countering with a combination of movement and environmental improvisation. The mimic faltered, revealing a subtle flaw in its design, something the humans could exploit. "Observe," Elias instructed. "Notice the hesitation, that's their limitation. They calculate, but they don't feel. They anticipate, but they don't understand fear, hope, or courage. That's our advantage." "It's reacting to your emotions," she said. "The scar isn't just a mark, it's a sensor, a guide. It reacts to stress, focus, and intuition, use it to anticipate their moves. With each pulse, he refined the team's movements, ensuring that they stayed one step ahead. As the night progressed, the aliens began to exhibit frustration. They adjusted their tactics, but every adjustment introduced new errors. Elias recognized a pattern, a way to force the mimics into predictable mistakes while maintaining the humans' unpredictability. "We'll split into two groups," Elias instructed. "One group draws their attention, the other gathers data and prepares the next phase. Remember, patience and observation are key. Don't underestimate them, but don't fear them either. We survive because we adapt." The humans' improvisation clashed with the aliens' precision, creating a dynamic that favored the humans. Every action, every choice was calculated yet flexible, a combination the mimics could not replicate. Suddenly, an explosion of energy disrupted the sensors. The aliens had attempted a direct strike, manipulating space-time in a localized area. The ground trembled and the humans were thrown off balance. Elias reacted instantly, guiding the team through the chaos with calm authority. "They can't fully control it," he shouted over the din. "They predict, they calculate, but they don't understand the randomness of human reaction. Move, improvise, adapt." They navigated through the shifting environment, observing the aliens' attempts to recalibrate. Each error the aliens made provided critical information, revealing weaknesses in their design and strategy. By dawn, the humans had achieved a significant breakthrough. They had observed the aliens' limitations in real time, gathered data from multiple encounters, and refined their understanding of the threat. The mimics, though still dangerous, were now predictable in specific scenarios. Elias surveyed the team, exhausted but focused. "We've learned more tonight than I expected. They're advanced, yes, but they are not invincible. Humanity has one edge they cannot replicate: creativity, courage, and the willingness to take risks when the situation demands it. If we can decode it fully, it may provide a map of their operations, maybe even a way to disrupt their control over the colonies. Now we need to understand them completely, anticipate their next moves, and prepare humanity to strike first if necessary." They could calculate, but they could not improvise. They could mimic, but they could not feel. That difference would be humanity's advantage in the battles to come. As the sun rose, casting light on the damaged colony, Elias felt a renewed sense of purpose. The scar on his face, once a mark of survival, was now a tool, a guide, and a warning. It reminded him that humanity's greatest strength was not technology, not weapons, but the very qualities that made humans unpredictable: courage, intuition, and the ability to adapt under pressure. Lyra looked at him, admiration and determination in her eyes. "We'll use every advantage we have. We'll learn from them, exploit their weaknesses, and prepare humanity for whatever comes next." They had survived the first confrontation, but they knew the aliens would adapt. The next encounters would be even more dangerous. Yet, for the first time since returning from the rift, Elias felt a sense of hope. Humanity was not just enduring, it was learning, evolving, and preparing to reclaim its place in the galaxy. As they boarded their transport, Elias looked at the scar in the reflection of the metal walls. It pulsed faintly, almost as if acknowledging the night's success. He knew the path ahead would be difficult, filled with unknown threats and unimaginable challenges. But he also knew that as long as humans had courage, creativity, and each other, there was no force in the universe that could fully predict or control them. The transport lifted off, leaving the colony behind. Shadows lingered on the ground, remnants of the alien presence, but the humans were moving forward, armed with knowledge, strategy, and the unyielding spirit that defined their species. Elias leaned back, closing his eyes for a moment, letting the hum of the engines and the pulse of the scar guide him. Humanity had survived the first test. They had faced an intelligence beyond comprehension and had prevailed through ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. And now, the real battle was just beginning. The transport hummed quietly as it moved away from the abandoned colony. The team had learned a lot during the night, but Elias knew this was only the beginning. The aliens had shown their intelligence, but every action they took revealed weaknesses that humans could exploit. Now it was time to strike with purpose, not just reaction. "Coordinates set," Mara, the engineer, said, her fingers moving across the console with precision. "We're approaching the sector where their energy signals were strongest. This should take us closer to their operations hub. It's almost like it's mapping their system, responding to our actions in real time." If we can decode it fully, we might be able to locate their base and understand their control over the colonies. It's giving me feedback on their presence, their patterns, even their weaknesses. We need to trust it. Every light, every shadow could be a threat, especially here, near the edge of the Andromeda Rift. As they approached the sector, the energy readings grew stronger, pulsing rhythmically across their monitors. Elias felt the scar respond, a stronger vibration this time, almost like a heartbeat synchronized with the alien signals. "We're close," he said. "Prepare for deployment." But they haven't seen this coming. Sensors picked up the alien presence, moving and observing, but unable to predict every human choice. Suddenly, an alert sounded. Shadows detached from the structure, forming shapes that mirrored the humans exactly. Elias recognized them instantly, mimics, but these were different, more advanced, faster, more precise. "They've adapted," he said. "Stay calm, watch their patterns. Use what we learned." Elias led a small group through a narrow passage, using the scar's feedback to detect fluctuations in the energy fields. "This way," he whispered. "It's reacting to their presence. Follow the pulses." Every step was deliberate, every choice guided by instinct and improvisation. Inside the structure, the atmosphere shifted. The walls glowed with an alien energy flowing like liquid metal. Sensors indicated multiple presences, mimics observing, analyzing, calculating. But Elias knew their limitations. They could predict logic, but they could not anticipate human intuition. He signaled the team to set traps, using the environment to create illusions and misdirections. Energy pulses were redirected, shadows manipulated, and sound strategically deployed. The mimics responded, but every reaction revealed a flaw, a vulnerability. Lyra monitored the scar's pulses, noting changes as the team engaged the environment. "It's interacting with the structure itself," she said. "The scar is guiding us, showing us where the weaknesses are. If we can reach the central node, we can disrupt their operations." The aliens struck with precision, but the humans used unpredictability to force mistakes, turning the environment to their advantage. Hours passed, and the team reached a chamber at the heart of the structure. A massive energy core pulsed at the center, surrounded by alien technology that hummed and shimmered. Elias approached cautiously, feeling the scar's vibrations intensify. "This is it," he said. "This core controls their operations. If we can disrupt it, we can neutralize their influence over the colonies and force them to retreat." The mimics reacted immediately, moving to intercept, but the humans anticipated their moves, adapting in real time. Elias faced a mimic leader, a figure nearly identical to him in appearance and movement. The leader struck with precision, but Elias used a combination of instinct and improvisation to evade and counter. The scar pulsed strongly, guiding his movements, alerting him to the mimic's weaknesses. "You can't predict me," Elias said, moving with fluid precision. "You can calculate, but you cannot feel, you cannot improvise." One by one, the remaining mimics were controlled, trapped, or disabled through coordinated human strategy. The core became unstable, energy surging unpredictably. Lyra and Mara worked furiously, following the scar's guidance, rerouting systems, and creating a feedback loop that would disrupt the alien network. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but the humans remained focused, adapting to every change, every challenge. Finally, with a final surge of energy, the core destabilized. The structure trembled and the energy fields collapsed in a controlled sequence. The mimics, cut off from their central control, became disorganized and vulnerable. Humanity had gained the upper hand. Elias surveyed the chamber, breathing heavily. The scar pulsed faintly, as if acknowledging the victory. It was not just a mark of survival, it was a tool, a guide, a symbol of humanity's ingenuity and adaptability. Lyra looked at him, awe and relief in her eyes. "We did it," she said. "We disrupted their operations. The colonies should be safe for now." Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, but Elias felt a new sense of confidence. Humanity had faced an intelligence beyond comprehension and had prevailed through ingenuity, cooperation, and unpredictability. As they prepared to leave the planet, Elias touched the scar gently. It had guided them, warned them, and helped them survive. It was a mark of past danger, but also a beacon for the future. Humanity had the tools, the spirit, and the courage to face whatever lay beyond the stars. The transport lifted off, carrying the team toward home. They had won the first decisive battle, but Elias knew more challenges awaited. The aliens had intelligence, precision, and adaptability, but humans had something they could never fully replicate: emotion, intuition, courage, and the ability to think beyond logic. As the planet faded behind them, Elias felt a deep sense of purpose. The scar on his face was more than a mark. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience, a testament to survival, and a reminder that no matter the odds, humans would endure. The galaxy was vast, and threats were many, but humanity had proven that it could not be predicted, controlled, or defeated easily. And as Elias looked out at the stars, he knew that the real challenge was not just survival. It was leading humanity to claim its place among the stars. Scarred but unbroken, resilient, and stronger than ever. The transport hummed as it carried Elias and the team away from the alien structure. The energy core had been disrupted and the mimics scattered, but Elias knew this was only a temporary reprieve. Intelligence beyond comprehension was still out there, observing, learning. Yet the humans had achieved something remarkable. They had turned the tide, exploiting weaknesses the aliens could not replicate. Lyra sat beside him, reviewing the final data. "The colonies should stabilize," she said. "Without their central hub, their ability to control and mimic is severely limited. But this only confirms one thing: they will try again, somewhere, somehow." It had guided him through impossible circumstances, warned him of danger, and helped him survive attacks that no human had ever faced before. "Then we'll be ready," he said. "The scar isn't just a mark, it's a tool, a warning, a reminder of what humanity can endure and overcome." Every component, every signal, and every anomaly provided insight. They discovered patterns in the mimics' behavior, methods to predict responses, and weaknesses in their control systems. Humanity had gained knowledge that could reshape its approach to interstellar defense. Elias gathered the team in the transport's briefing room. "We've done well," he began, his voice calm but firm. "We've survived encounters with an intelligence far beyond our understanding, and we've succeeded where logic alone might have failed. But survival is not enough. We must prepare for the future. The aliens will adapt, and so must we. Our advantage is not just technology, it's our humanity, our unpredictability, courage, and cooperation. That is what they cannot replicate." Over the next few weeks, they coordinated with other colonies, sharing their discoveries and strategies. Each colony reinforced defenses, implemented human-led observation programs, and trained teams to respond to mimic incursions. The story of Elias' scar spread among the colonies, a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. During one of the debriefs, Lyra approached Elias. "You've carried this scar for months, maybe years," she said. "But now it's more than a mark of survival. It's a symbol, a testament to what humans can endure. You've become a living guide for humanity." "The scar is just a reminder of that." Elias and his team continued to travel between colonies, training new squads and sharing knowledge. Each mission reinforced one truth: humans were more than logic and technology. Their strength lay in their ability to think, feel, and adapt in ways no alien intelligence could fully predict. One evening, while observing the stars from the deck of their transport, Elias reflected on the journey. The rift, the mimics, the scar, they had all been trials, shaping humanity's understanding of the galaxy and its own capabilities. For the first time in years, he felt hope. Humans had faced an intelligence designed to outthink them, and they had prevailed through courage, creativity, and unity. Lyra joined him, leaning on the railing. "You've changed," she said softly. "The scar, the experiences, they've transformed you." A colony near the edge of explored space reported unusual energy readings, patterns similar to those they had encountered. Elias studied the data, recognizing the subtle irregularities. The aliens were adapting, learning from past failures, but humanity was ready. He turned to the team. "They are back somewhere out there, but we've learned, we've adapted, and we will continue to adapt. Our strength lies in our unpredictability and courage. We face challenges not because we are perfect, but because we are human, and that is why we endure." As they departed, the scar on Elias' face caught the light from the transport's control panels. It was no longer just a mark of survival. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder of the battles fought, the lessons learned, and the spirit of humanity that no alien intelligence could replicate. The stars stretched infinitely before them, a vast expanse of unknown challenges and possibilities. But Elias knew that as long as humans had courage, creativity, and the willingness to act beyond prediction, they would endure. Humanity had survived the rift, outwitted the mimics, and demonstrated that its greatest strength was not technology, but the human spirit itself. The scar remained, a silent guide and a reminder of what it meant to be human. Humanity would continue to explore, to learn, and to thrive in the galaxy. The stars were vast, the threats formidable, but humans had proven one undeniable truth: they could survive, adapt, and overcome. Elias looked out at the endless sky, feeling the pulse of the scar and the heartbeat of humanity within him. The journey was far from over, but hope burned brighter than ever. Humanity had returned stronger, smarter, and unbroken, and the galaxy would soon learn that human courage, ingenuity, and spirit were forces that no intelligence could imitate or conquer. As the transport soared toward the next colony, Elias whispered to himself, a quiet vow to the stars: "We endure, we survive, and we thrive. No matter what comes, humanity will not be defeated."